My name is Guillaume de Fondomière. I'm the co-CEO of Quantic Dream and the executive producer on Detroit Become Human.
So what are you showing here at PSX with Detroit Become Human?
So we are showing two scenes here. One that's on the show floor, it's called the hostage scene featuring Connor. And we have another scene that we're presenting behind closed doors called Stormy Night, featuring Kara.
What's it like seeing people experience this new scene for the first time?
It's always amazing because, we've been working on this game for 4 years, and it's always a special experience when you see actual players take the control, and it's a little bit like giving them your child and letting the child express itself and talk to other adults. So it's a great moment for us.
Can you talk about what the process was motion capturing for this project? Because it's phenomenal facial and body motion capture.
Yes, we've started already 17 years ago to create our own animations using our motion capture studio. For the first 10 years until 2010, we did mostly body capture. Started also with Heavy Rain to do facial capture with our own system, and then we started to work on a prototype called Kara. And we wanted to do for the first time full performance capture, capturing both the facial animation, the voice, and the body animation in the same performance. We've cast Valerie Curry. David wrote this short story of an android character that's being built, and all of a sudden there is a bug and she becomes sentient. So that was actually our very first performance capture shoot in the studio in 2010. We've then perfected the system, used it to create Beyond Two Souls, and now, after 7 years of experience, we are capable, I think, of really capturing the most subtle emotions with this system and create highly believable characters.
Your games are blurring the line between, film and gaming. Talk about how you've seen that evolve to the point where, do you ever think we'll get to a point where, you go to a movie and choose what you want to do?
I think that movies and games are somewhat different. You don't have the same expectation. In a movie, you're seeing the vision of the creator, and you can't interact with it. Whereas what we offer gamers is to really create their own story through their actions and through their decisions, and that's very much what we're known for and what we're doing since 20 years. We try to create meaningful stories and give players the possibility to truly own the story. And Detroit is certainly the most branching story we've ever created, and it's also the most ambitious title for us, not only because of the sheer volume or complexity of the game, but also because we are tackling socially relevant topics. We're trying to make players feel something very, very strong. We're trying to confront them with difficult moral decisions that will question them as individuals, as humans in today's world.
Even your booth on the show floor is it speaks very loudly with having the androids inside the case waving. It's very powerful. Just that image, even though it's a marketing image, it's still very powerful.
It's not only a marketing, it's more thoughtful than that. We really want people to reflect on it and ask themselves certain questions, In 20 years, the world will have evolved, and probably there are going to be human-like androids who will maybe feel the same emotions as us, not only look like us. Maybe they're going to be as intelligent, maybe even more intelligent. Now, what is going to be the impact on us of this evolution? They may take on our jobs. Okay, so there is going to be a social aspect to it. But maybe there's even more, something deeper to it. And maybe we are going to react in very, very different ways to this evolution. Showing them like this behind windows, like objects, this may also resonate with us in certain ways.
So talk about the city itself, because it takes place in Detroit. That's a city with a lot of history, and what does it open up for your team creatively to have the story take place in such a famous city?
So we when we decided to create Detroit, we didn't know to start with where it should take place. David knew it was going to take place in the United States, but we still had to imagine where exactly. Heavy Rain, the setting of Heavy Rain was Philadelphia, as people know, although we've never talked too much about it. We were looking for a place with a strong industrial history. And a place that would be the beginning of this revolution that we were seeing. And we've visited different cities in the U.S. and when we went to Detroit, this city really resonated very strongly with us. We know, of course, the history of this city as the birthplace and of the automotive industry, but also a city that is today, it's known as a bankruptcy. It's gone through a lot, and they're trying, the communities, everyone in Detroit is trying to reinvent itself, and we found this idea of a city that is reinventing itself, trying to find a new future, the perfect place to set Detroit. And we've visited the city, and we've met incredible people, we came back with a lot of inspiration to set the game there.
So can you talk about your relationship with Sony and what they provided in terms of tech and support to help make this game a reality?
Well, we've have a long-standing relationship with Sony now. We're a 20-year-old studio that has worked 11 years with Sony exclusively. The biggest support that they give us is, it's not about money, it's they trust us. We create our own tech. We create, everything the entire game is conceived and developed in-house, but they are supporting us. When we pitch a project, they tell us, yes, okay, we trust you, do it, be bold, challenge yourselves, and this is why we're working so tightly with them, and we are so happy in this partnership.
So the Imaginarium is Andy Serkis's company that does a lot of motion capture in New Zealand, yeah, and they're at the point now where you're filming mocap on set, where 6 years ago, you needed to do it in a studio with thousands of lights. Where do you think mocap will be 10 years from now?
Well, 10 years from now, I hope we'll be able to go outside, shoot maybe in real sets. That's an interesting evolution. I know there is already some technology available that makes this possible. So that is probably something interesting. We are always trying to find a technical solution that is as frictionless and as non-intrusive for actors as possible. And so I hope that in the future maybe there won't be any markers anymore. Maybe we will be able to capture not only body and facial animation, but maybe also cloth animation. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that.
And the last question is, where do you want people to take away from your story? Because it's a very, not necessarily controversial, but a very eye-opening story, a very important story, a very important lesson.
The fundamental question that this game is asking is, what does it mean to be a human? And we want to be thought-provoking. We want to touch people on an emotional level and make them think and reflect on this very question.